Hi students, today we are going to talk about a concept HbA1c. So HbA1c is a very important viva question and also sometimes short when it comes to carbohydrate metabolism and uh, regulation of blood glucose levels. Students often confuse about the HbA1c. Mostly they may ask by the examiners about the normal value of HbA1c. So why the normal value of HbA1c is important and what is it used for the value and what is it and all we are going to discuss in this video. So HbA1c, what is it? See here, HbA1c. So HbA1c is a type of hemoglobin in a blood, or you can say in RBC. Mostly in adult RBC, hemoglobin will be in the form of HbA, but the minor composition, a little composition of hemoglobin is also present in the form of HbA1c. So HbA1c is a variant of hemoglobin present in RBCs. HbA1c is a variant of another variant of HbA1c present in adult RBCs, but not that much as compared with HbA type. So HbA1c is a subtype of HbA1c is a subtype of HbA. It's present a little quantity in the blood. Now what is the importance of this HbA1c in a blood, we will see now. So HbA1c is a diagnostic test. Sorry, this is not that right. We'll use this one. Yeah. HbA1c is a diagnostic test which we use to advise the person having diabetes. So we have other diagnostic tests also for diagnose the diabetic patients called FBS, which is a fasting blood sugar, and the next one is random blood sugar, and also postprandial blood sugar. These three are also diagnostic tests for diabetic patients. But these three values, if we estimate these three values will tell us about the current blood glucose levels of the patient. But what about this HbA1c? HbA1c is also one of the diagnostic tests preferred for the diabetic patient. But the importance of HbA1c is HbA1c test reveals the blood sugar level of particular person previous 3 months history of blood glucose levels. So this HbA1c test reveals the previous 3 months history of blood glucose levels in a person. So the normal HbA1c level is 4 to 5.6 percentage is a normal reference value of the HbA1c. So if the person has 5.7 to 6 means this is a pre-diabetic state of that particular person. So it indicates the past 120 days or past 3 months history of blood glucose in a person. So why 3 months? Why it gives HbA1c gives a 3 months history of blood glucose? Why these three do not give 3 months history of blood glucose? Because we'll tell you the HbA1c importance, why it gives us how it gives a 3 months blood glucose history. So in general, as we all know, I told you hemoglobin means it will be present in our RBC only, right? So what happens in diabetic patients? We will see now. So in diabetes, we all know diabetes means in general in diabetic patients glucose level will be elevated. Glucose level will be elevated more than normal. So which means in diabetic patient blood, so for example this is a Diabetic patient, imagine. So in the blood glucose value is accumulated. Why? Because there is no insulin. Insulin deficiency leads to no glucose entry into the cell. Glucose entry will not happen due to lack of insulin. Glucose will not come inside. So outside glucose will not come inside the cell due to lack of insulin. So whatever glucose or whatever glucose diet or carbohydrate diet that the patient has taken will stay in the blood itself. Then this glucose will get accumulated. Glucose will be accumulated in the blood rather coming inside the cell. Then what happens? This accumulated glucose levels in blood will start sticking to the RBCs. Mainly not to RBCs. In general, what happens? This RBC, inside RBC there is a hemoglobin called HbA1c. As I said, it's a variant of HbA. So this hemoglobin HbA1c present in this RBC starts accepting this glucose, and this glucose eventually sticks to this HbA1c. So as we all know, adult hemoglobin contains two chains, alpha 2, beta 2. This beta chains in HbA1c, two beta chains contains two N-terminal groups of lysine. So two amino acids are present in the beta chains of the hemoglobin. These are N-terminal groups of beta chains. So to these N-terminal groups of beta chains, what happens? This accumulated glucose in blood. See, this is a blood. I'm writing this with a red color so that it fixes with. So now here see, this accumulated glucose, as I said earlier, due to lack of insulin in diabetic patients, type 2 diabetic patients, this accumulated glucose will come and stick to the N-terminal group of lysine amino acid. I am mentioning the name of amino acids also. Remember, lysine amino acid present in the HbA1c will, like this glucose will stick to this lysine. So for the sticking, like we can say this glucose will get attached to the lysine. This attachment does not need anything, like for example, it does not need any enzyme. So you can say, if anybody asks you what is HbA1c, it is HbA1c is nothing but it's a glycated hemoglobin. So the proof is here. So here what happens? The accumulated glucose is gonna attach him over to the lysine and terminal group of the lysine. So glucose is getting attached to the lysine with no enzymatic reactions. So non-enzymatic addition of glucose to the amino acid lysine present in beta chain of HbA1c variant of hemoglobin. So this is the definition of HbA1c. As we already discussed earlier about the reference value of HbA1c is 4 to 5.6. If the value jacks up more than 5.6, that indicates pre-diabetes. The value sometimes goes up to 12%, which means it's a severe diabetic. And also if the patient value is 6.7, 7.8 or 8 means 8% means all these percentage indicates that the blood glucose regulation is very poor in him or in her. So depends upon the value of HbA1c, we can estimate the person's blood glucose regulation from the past 3 months. So this is all about HbA1c. So how to reduce HbA1c? Why these HbA1c levels are getting jacked up in a blood? So we know the basic causes of diabetes, like smoking, alcohol, and stressful life, and also lack of physical exercise and lack of healthy lifestyle all together cause this HbA1c level to jack up, to raise up more than normal. The normal is 4 to 5.6. So HbA1c, one more it's a like in a nutshell I can tell you one thing. HbA1c is a it's a variant of hemoglobin called subtype of hemoglobin under HbA, and it is present in a blood in a very minor quantities. This HbA1c will get attached with the glucose whenever the glucose values are more than normal. Mostly it occurs in diabetic patients. The normal value of this HbA1c is 4 to 5.6, and the accumulated glucose molecules will get attached to the beta chain lysine amino acid, which is present in the beta chain of that HbA1c amino acid. So when the glucose is not entering into the cell due to lack of insulin, this glucose will be diverted and sticks over to the amino group of the lysine present in a beta chain of HbA1c. So this is what all about HbA1c. So remember the normal values and also the mechanism of attaching glucose to the amino group of lysine. So this is called non-enzymatic glycation. Glycation is happening, which means glucose is attaching to the amino group. Glycation is happening here, and it does not need any enzymes to get stuck with this NH2 amino group. So this is what HbA1c is. Thank you.